It's another blow to an already locked down Melbourne, the AFL Grand Final appearing destined for a state other than Victoria.
Perth Stadium would be the home of the AFL Grand Final in the event that it is not able to happen at the MCG.
Perth Stadium, the preferred contingency ahead of Adelaide Oval, capacity the deciding factor.
The commercial returns are good in Perth, and I think it will help us deal with what's been an extraordinarily expensive year.
Staging the game in Perth isn't without risk, the West Australian government showing no hesitancy to shut down the city when COVID-19 cases emerge. And AFL matches have already been affected this season. The Round 7 Western Derby closed just hours before bounce down. WA Premier Mark McGowan has welcomed the possible move, but says the safety of the WA community remains his top priority.
This is an uncertain environment. We are aware wherever we are that is a risk. So we make that decision with our eyes open and knowing that, if things happened over there, that we could move and pivot.
If the game does take place in Perth, it will likely allow traditional events to take place, including the AFL parade, but there would also be restrictions. Interstate visitors and players' families unlikely to be let into Western Australia. Whether the MCG can host the game will be determined next week, the decision resting with the Victorian government. Tom Wildey, ABC News.
And ABC Sports' Tom Wildey joins us from outside Perth Stadium. Tom, we know Perth is set as the backup venue if Melbourne can't host the event, but what do we know about the actual day?
Well, Pamela, there's still a lot to play out as to whether or not the game is here, and the details are a little bit scant. What we do know is the AFL is open to having the game at any time slot if it is here in Perth. So that's a daytime game, say 12:30, an evening game or a night game like they had at the Gabba last year. That will likely be determined in part by the broadcasters who want to hit the prime time in the East Coast and other partners as to whether or not the game is, at what time frame the game is at. One thing we do know for sure is the AFL is determined to have crowds at the AFL Grand Final. So in the unlikely event that Perth does have a COVID outbreak and the WA government decides to close the ground down and not allow crowds, the AFL have said that they will look to move the game or delay the game by a week, anything they can do to allow crowds in to watch the match, which is part of the reason why they're considering moving it away from the MCG in the first place. Crowds is also something the players are desperate to see. Patrick Dangerfield spoke about how important they are to the game, especially in finals, so that will be one of the determining factors. All of that, of course, is hypothetical because at the moment the game is still going ahead at the MCG on September 25. But that decision will be finalised next week. If the Victorian government deems there will be crowds there, then it will stay. But otherwise, on Monday or Tuesday, we'll find out whether or not the venue behind me will be the host of the AFL Grand Final for 2021. Pamela.
Thanks, Tom. Tom Wildey there.